I'm Lana, and I'll be turning 20 soon. I'm studying finance at college, and right now I'm in the thick of finals week. Though I've always had a talent for numbers, this is a challenging major. My thoughts turn to my impending birthday as I sit here in my dorm room surrounded by textbooks and empty coffee cups. My family and I have plans to celebrate when I pass our examinations. There's always a sour aftertaste to family gatherings. I was always the black sheep when I was a child. Now 25, Olivia is my elder sister. She has always been my parents' favorite child, the one they spoiled. I was an afterthought, simply there. This was once when I was 8 years old. My parents gave Olivia a huge party to celebrate her 13th birthday. A magician, a cake larger than I was, and a bouncy castle were all present. I was ecstatic, believing my birthday would be as spectacular. A few months later, I received nothing for my birthday except a pair of socks and a tiny cake from the grocery store. I tried not to cry, but it was impossible. "Don't be dramatic, Lana," my mother murmured, giving me a quick slap on the head. "It is only a birthday." That was the first time I recognized I was different, perhaps less significant. The more I aged, the stronger the emotion became. Every year, Olivia received the newest phone, and I inherited her previous ones. I received hand-me-downs. She got luxury clothing. Upon her high school graduation, my parents gifted her a vehicle. They handed me a gift card to the neighborhood bookshop after I graduated. But my grandmother is not like the others. She has consistently given me particular treatment. She was overjoyed to hear that I want to study finance. "You've got a good head on your shoulders, Lana," she added. "You'll go far." She's now insisted on planning my birthday party. To make it happen, she even offered my parents several $1,000s. When I learned about it, I was astounded. My birthday is generally ignored by my parents, but this time they didn't dispute with Nana Grace. They simply collected the money and instructed me to concentrate on my tests. I heard Olivia get all worked up over it. She complained, "Why does she get a big party? I could use that money for a trip I've been wanting to take." Nana Grace quickly silenced her. "Now, Olivia, shut up. You were already spoiled by everyone. Aren't you still living at home after I gave you 10 grand for rent?" After that, Olivia became silent. I couldn't resist becoming a bit arrogant. "I'm now studying for my final exam. Tomorrow is my free day. I can celebrate my birthday and feel special for once." I left my last exam the next day with the impression that something heavy had been removed from my shoulders. While my classmates were excitedly discussing their summer plans, my mind was focused only on my impending birthday celebration. There were texts buzzing on my phone as I walked back to my dorm. Knowing I would be returning home soon, my college buddies were sending me an early happy birthday. Even if it was only by folks I'd known for a few years, it was nice to be recognized. As soon as I walked inside our shared area, my roommate, Hara, said, "Happy almost birthday. You ready for the big family shindig?" I nodded, trying to become excited again. "Yeah, should be interesting." Tara's eyebrow went up. "You don't seem very enthusiastic. Everything all right?" With a groan, I collapsed into my bed. "Just my family is involved. You know, especially when it comes to me, they're not exactly the cuddle bug. But this whole affair was planned by your grandmother, right?" "That has to be significant," Tara remarked. "Yes," I said. "Nana Grace has never been the same. She appears to like me, actually." I was packing my backpack for my journey home when I started to feel uneasy in the pit of my stomach. I was half excited that my birthday would finally be memorable and half afraid that anything might go wrong. The bus trip home seemed to take forever. My thoughts kept going to what was waiting for me. Would there be any decorations in the house? Would cake be served? Would it really appear like a joyous reunion with my parents? I inhaled deeply as I made my way up the driveway. There were no streamers or balloons to suggest that a party was about to take place, and the house appeared typical. Perhaps, though, they were attempting to seem upbeat and were holding everything within. I called out, "Mom, Dad, I'm home," as I opened the front door. The home was quiet, too quiet for somewhere that should have been getting ready for a party. I scowled as I headed to the living room, leaving my backpack by the entrance. There they were, seated on the couch and seemed very uneasy. No signs of preparations for the celebration. I said, hi, as my voice became more confused. Where's all the, birthday stuff? My heart sank when I saw my parents look at each other. That's about it, Lana, my father said in a very distant tone. We decided not to organize your birthday party. Thinking I had misheard, I blinked. What? However, Nana Grace paid you for it. We gave the money to Olivia for her trip, she said, interrupting my mother. She and her boyfriend flew to Hawaii a couple of days ago. The words felt like a kick to the stomach. Tears were beginning to hurt my eyes. You what? It was for my birthday, though. You received that from Nana Grace on my birthday. With a shrug, my dad avoided looking at me. Olivia required a getaway. You do realize this, don't you? I was hearing things that I couldn't believe. Comprehend. No, I'm not getting it. My birthday was scheduled to be celebrated there. I extended an invitation. What am I meant to explain to them? That's already taken care of, my mother responded in a condescending manner. We called everyone and told them you were having problems with college and that the party was cancelled. I just stood there, my disbelief becoming to rage. You told them lies about me. How are you able to do this? My father became sterner. That's sufficient, Lana. You must quit being so self-centered and learn to obey us. Selfish. I nearly let out the word. How do I exhibit selfishness? It was my celebration, my birthday. The front door opened just then. I turned, feeling bad, and hoped it was Olivia returning early. Rather, I witnessed my Nana Grace enter the room and her eyes narrow as she took in the surroundings. With a harsh tone, she questioned, "What's going on here? Where's the party?" I turned to face my parents, ready for them to come up with an excuse. They paused, searching for the right words. Something broke inside of me at that very instant. With trembling in my voice, I answered, "Nana Grace, there's no party. They gave the money to Olivia for a trip to Hawaii instead." I had never seen my grandmother's expression before. It was a mixture of disappointment and rage, all aimed at my parents. She insisted, "Is this true?" My parents were unable to meet her eyes. Their quiet gave her all the assurance she required. Nana Grace's look softened as she turned to face me. "Lana, please pack your belongings. I'll be bringing you along." I didn't require 2 reminders. My grandmother's voice, low and furious, was talking to my parents while I hurried to stuff some clothing into my backpack. The tone was obvious, even if I couldn't make out the words. Nana Grace was waiting by the door when I returned downstairs. We walked out of the house and into her car without saying anything to my parents. I started crying finally as we drove away. It was the outpouring of 20 years of feeling unloved and unwanted. Nana Grace touched my hand as she reached over. Her voice was forceful yet compassionate as she continued, "Don't you worry, dear. We'll resolve this. It's past time someone told you that you deserve more than this." We were taken by Nana Grace to her lovely 2-story house on the outskirts of town. She turned to face me, a determined expression in her eyes as we drew into the driveway. "This might not be the party you were expecting, Lana, but we're going to celebrate your birthday properly." Nana Grace opened her door and went straight to her phone. I was astounded to see her order what seemed like enough food to feed an army, and then have it delivered quickly. She winked and added, "I hope you're hungry," before hanging up. "We've got quite a feast coming our way." Nana Grace busied herself in the kitchen, getting out her finest china and cutlery, while we waited for the meal to come. I tried to assist her, but she pushed me off. "My love, it's your birthday. You simply unwind." I therefore saw her work while seated at the kitchen table. A few minutes of stillness later, I was at my breaking point. "Nana Grace," I said in a low voice. Why don't they love me?" She stopped what she was doing and turned to face me, her eyes mournful. She appeared to be battling something inside for a brief while. She groaned then and took a seat across from me. "Oh, Lana," she murmured, extending her hand to grasp mine. "I suppose it's time you knew the truth." My heart began to race. "The truth about what?" Nana Grace inhaled deeply. "Your parents, they didn't want you to be born." The words struck me like a punch to the body. It felt like a blow to my lungs when the air left them. "What?" Branny said. "They thought Olivia was enough, in a kind but strong way. However, I persuaded them to have you. Your mother had a challenging pregnancy and a challenging delivery. She came close to passing away." Tears were forming in my eyes once more. So it's my fault." "No," gruffly answered Nana Grace. "No, Lana, it's not at all your fault. Your mother attempted to avoid you after that, but these things do happen occasionally. Olivia and your father took their cue from her." I sat there in disbelief. I had sensed for years that something was wrong, but I had never anticipated this. It was the doorbell ringing. Our meal was on its way. I sat there trying to take in what I had just learned as Nana Grace went to fetch it. The hours that followed seemed to fly by. I ate my way through an absurd quantity of food with my grandmother. Even though my heart was heavy, she made me laugh by telling me stories about her early years. For the first time in a long time, I started to unwind and genuinely enjoy my birthday as the evening went on. Nana Grace's phone rang while we were eating the last of the cake. She gave it a quick glance, then turned back to face me, a playful twinkle in her eye. She said, "It's your sister. Shall we see what she has to say?" I gave a nod, my curiosity taking over. Mama switched the phone on speaker. Olivia's voice called out, "Hello," with a terrified tone. "Why is my card restricted, Nana Grace? What is happening?" When Nana Grace answered back, her voice sounded cold. "Hi, Olivia. It appears that you have realized that your acts have repercussions." "What? Which acts? What topic are you discussing?" Olivia's tone was getting higher. Nana Grace sternly stated, "Your behavior, along with that of your parents, has been absolutely shameful. Using funds intended for your sister's birthday to further your personal agenda. I'm quite let down by you." A pause occurred. Olivia's voice then returned, this time irate. "Oh, please hurry up. Giving me the money was the correct thing for Mom and Dad to do. Lana doesn't require a large celebration. You're simply an old crazy lady." "That's quite enough," Nana Grace interrupted, her voice as strong as steel. "I've heard all I need to hear." She hung up after saying that. I gazed at her, my eyes wide. "Nana Grace, did you really block her card?" With a content smile, she gave a nod. "Yes, I did, as well as your parents' account. It's time they discovered how to balance on 2 feet. Just like clockwork, the phone rang once again. It was my parents this time. Ignoring it, Nana Grace turned back to face me. She continued, "Now then, as if we hadn't just revealed a shocking detail about my family's financial situation. How about we plan out the rest of your birthday week?" My time with Nana Grace seemed unreal, a far cry from the tragedy that had been my birthday. I felt very liked and appreciated for once. We just spent time together, went shopping, and visited museums. However, everything good has to end. It wasn't long until I had to head back to my dorm and concentrate on my summer coursework. My phone buzzed while I was in my little dorm room unpacking my luggage. When I looked at it, I saw a barrage of notifications, missed calls and texts from Olivia and my parents. I sat on my bed and began scrolling through them, sighing. Mom gave me the first one. "Lana, you should speak with your Nana Grace immediately. This can't happen." Next, my father. "We are your guardians. We deserve your allegiance. Make her remove the account ban." Even worse were Olivia's texts. "You brat, little one. Was this your goal too? To spoil everything for us? You're the reason we're stranded in Hawaii. Now fix this." I read through them all, my hands trembling. It was astounding how daring they were to ask for my assistance after what they had done. I inhaled deeply and tapped out a reply. It's just you and Nana Grace on this one. I will be impartial. Don't get in touch with me about this again, please. After pressing send, I blocked their numbers. But the quiet was short-lived. They began making calls from several numbers and leaving derogatory and demanding voicemails. My mother said something really hurtful to me during a particularly unpleasant call that I answered by mistake. "You little ungrateful trash," she spit out. "I never ought to have given birth to you. Instead, I ought to have had an abortion." The final straw was that I hung up and blocked all the numbers they attempted to use to get in contact with me. My mother's comments echoed in my thoughts as I curled up on my bed, tears streaming down my cheeks. I immersed myself into my studies during the following few weeks, attempting to use textbooks and assignments to block out the anguish. Every now and again I would phone Nana Grace and cry into her confident, soothing voice. "How are you holding up, dear?" Her tone would always be kind as she asked. I would respond, "I'm okay," Nana Grace, attempting to seem more confident than I actually was, just focusing on my classes. She would add, "That's my girl," with pride in her voice. "Keep in mind that you underestimate your strength. Avoid letting them affect you." Her words soothed my hurting spirit. Nana Grace has turned into my rock and safe haven throughout this tempest, but my dad and sister had revealed their true selves. It was a cool fall day, roughly 2 months following the birthday debacle. I was thinking about a finance exam I had coming up and was strolling across campus when I heard my name called. "Lana." I spun around and stopped. There came Jake, my sister Olivia's boyfriend, sprinting toward me with a $1 million smile. That Jake who accompanied her to Hawaii. He looked as good as he always did, and as he drew closer, I couldn't help but notice the looks of curiosity from other girls. He grabbed me into an embrace before I could even blink. He started to draw away, still smiling, and I stood there, rigid and bewildered. "Jake, what are you doing here?" With a sharp awareness of the looks we were getting, I managed to inquire. His voice was soft as silk. "I was hoping to run into you," he murmured. "Is it possible for us to speak? A cafe is located right off campus." My first reaction was to say no, but my curiosity won out. "Okay, but I can't stay long." Jake moved forward and his countenance turned abruptly serious as we found a quiet area of the cafe. "Lana, I need to tell you something important." I prepared myself, anticipating family news. But what he said after that totally threw me off guard. Blurting out, "I want to date you," he reached across the table to grab hold of my hand. "I'm going to leave Olivia for you." I gaped at him as I looked at him. "How come?" "Jake, what topic are you discussing? My sister is with you." His gaze never left mine as he shook his head. "Lana, I've had feelings for you for a very long time. My sole purpose in dating Olivia was to stay near you. It may sound absurd, yet this is the case." My thoughts was racing as he talked. There was no logic to this. Before this, Jake had never expressed any interest in me. Indeed, he consistently appeared to hardly acknowledge my presence while he was with Olivia. There was clearly something suspicious going on here. I chose to follow along to see where it would go. "Wow, Jake, that's really sweet," I murmured, forcing a bashful smile. I was unaware that you felt that way. Clearly encouraged by my reply, his expression brightened. "Really? So what are your thoughts? Can you provide us a chance?" I said, "This is a lot to take in," after pretending to think about it. "Could I take a little time to consider this? Maybe next week, we might get together again." "Naturally," Jake said with enthusiasm. "Take as much time as necessary. Lana, I'll be waiting for you." I stayed at the coffee shop after he went, drinking my coffee and thinking about the strange experience. My grandmother's choice to financially distance my family from me seemed to be linked to this unexpected show of affection, and I couldn't get rid of it. But how? What was Jake hoping to get out of this? My brain was still whirling from Jake's odd revelation when my phone rang, and I had barely left the cafe. On the screen, My sister's name flickered. I replied, letting out a long sigh. You backstabbing little trash. Olivia's voice came screeching out of the speaker. How could you do this to me? I winced at her loudness as I withdrew the phone from my ear. Olivia, what the hell are you talking about? Don't try to fool me. You're destroying my house. I lost patience. Shut up right now and explain what's going on, or I'm hanging up. Olivia's voice trembled with anger as she spoke again, after a startled silence. Jake split up with me. He said that he would rather date you. How were you able to? It was as though I had taken a hit to the belly. What? I promise, Olivia, I was unaware. She spit out. Oh, act all innocent. You must be ecstatic about this, don't you? Guess what, though? All he wants from you is Nana Grace's money. My thoughts raced. Nana Grace funds? What topic are you discussing? Olivia chuckled bitterly. Oh, you're unaware. Okay, little sister, allow me to explain. Mom, Dad, and I are being excluded from Nana Grace's will. She is giving you complete control. I felt lightheaded and leaned against a nearby wall. But why would she do that? Because she discovered Mom and Dad's scheme, Olivia said, bitterness seething in her voice. They requested that she be deemed mentally incompetent in order to seize possession of her belongings. However, the elderly bat somehow learned about it. I was feeling ill. They did what? You heard me, snarled Olivia. And now, all of us are disconnected. Well, not you, obviously. The ideal little angel. Everything began to click into place. So that's why Jake suddenly wants to date me, because of Nana Grace's money. Bingo, exclaimed Olivia. Offer the girl a reward. God, that disgusting old lady. I wish she would. With a stern voice, I cut her off. Olivia, don't even try to complete that statement. I'm not sure who's worse in this scenario. Jake for being a gold-digging serpent, or you and our parents for trying to rob Nana Grace. Olivia let out a gasp. How dare you? No, how dare you? I fired back. You guys are all abhorrent. Olivia, I want to stop talking to you. Please don't call me back. With trembling hands, I hung up. Tears pinched at my eyes, attempting to overpower me with a mixture of hurt and rage. How is my family able to achieve this? How could they be so avaricious and cruel? I shook hands and tapped Nana Grace's phone. Her response came back quickly, her tone reassuring and kind. Lana, dear, is everything all right? I inhaled deeply. Nana Grace, I recently learned everything there is to know. Is it true that the inheritance and your parents' attempts to have you declared incompetent? After a little silence, Nana Grace laughed. Oh, sweetheart, when would you hear about all that turmoil? I was thinking. It is true, indeed. She continued the story with a laugh and a hint of disappointment in her voice. You ought to have witnessed their expressions when the commission arrived at my door. I answered all of their inquiries, had tea with them, and even completed a few Sudoku problems to demonstrate my mental sharpness. As I imagined the situation, I couldn't help but smile. So what happened? Well, Nana Grace went on. They went away quite sure I was okay. Naturally, your parents' absurd claim was denied. I was forced to defend you and my possessions from their avarice after that. The home is what I left them, but everything else is going to you, my love. I was overpowered. Nana Grace, I don't know what to say. Lana, you don't need to say anything. Just assure me that you will utilize it prudently. One day, I want you to take over the business and build on what I've started. Grandmother, I swear, I'm not going to fail you. I put myself into my studies with fresh zest after that chat. I lost contact with my family, if I could even call them that anymore. I disregarded their attempts to contact me and blocked their numbers. They had exposed their genuine selves, and I was done dealing with them. Just as promised, Jake reappeared a week after I spoke with him. When he noticed the icy expression in my eyes, his once confident smile broke. Lana, he said, grasping my hand. I withdrew. Save it, Jake, I growled. I am well aware of your little plot. My sister and you are meant to be together. You are a hired gun as well as despicable." His mask came off in an instant, sneering. "You're making a big mistake, Lana. You're a fool to refuse a guy like me." I couldn't contain my laughter. "A man similar to yourself? Do you mean a gold digger who lacks morality? Thank you, but I guess I'll pass." I felt a weight lift off my shoulders as he rushed off. I was no longer subject to deceit, manipulation, or the persistent sense of inadequacy that had dogged me for so long. Nana Grace took me under her wing over the following 6 months and taught me the ins and outs of managing a profitable business. We pored over financial data on weekends, spoke about company plans, and made plans for the future. She used to say, "You have a good head for business, Lana," and would always grin with pride. "You're going to do great things." I felt really loved and cherished for the first time in my life. The happiness I felt at finally finding my place in the world eclipsed the sadness I still felt at losing my parents and sister.